Alright, today I'm going to show you the easy way to make propane wood stoves and fireplaces and fire pits. Starting with the propane tank. And if you're like me, you get these at the scrap yard for about $5 a piece because people can't turn these in and recycle them anymore because these valves are out of code. So that's where we're going to start. Valve stem removal. Very difficult to get this out because it's put in with an epoxy, and they actually don't want you taking this out, but this is what you're going to start with. So if you're like me and you're going to need something pretty hefty to hold this, what I did was make a jig for it where you turn it on its side like this and it holds it on each side, and I put rubber grips on there to hold it really tight. And I've tried to remove these many different ways, and the best way I've found is with a cold chisel and a ball peen hammer. And you're going to put your cold chisel right here and start hitting this valve and spin it out. And just hit it until you get a good couple rotations, and then it'll be hand loose and you can remove it. Once you get it removed, you want to get all the gas out of here, which is pretty hard because it's heavier than air. So you're going to take a garden hose and fill this up about 3 times all the way to the top to push the gas out. And then you can safely work on this and cut on it. One time I had a little bit of gas left in there that I didn't know of, and it actually inflamed the tank when I was cutting on it. Okay. And I've made well over 30 propane tank wood stoves and fireplaces, as you can see, and I sell these in my spare time. And we'll go get a couple and show you how to do them like me. And we'll start right here with this one. And this is a camping tent wood stove. So all of my stoves, there's no welds. You don't want to do any welding on something like this because it's a very harsh environment, and sooner or later you'll probably crack the weld. So all of my stoves are bolted. You won't need anything to build these except for an angle grinder. So to get this exhaust pipe right, I've cut a large hole, and I've actually threaded this union right in there, and that'll be my exhaust pipe for this. And this little cook plate here is all my stoves are spare parts. That's my thing. I only use recycled parts. So I've used some bolts through here to hold it, and I got a little cook plate here. You can heat up a cup of coffee or put a pasty on there and heat it up, whatever you want to do. So my overfire exhaust, this is my underfire draft. Again, I've cut a hole with an angle grinder. I've just threaded heavy stainless pipe in there. This is my valve control, so that's closed. This is open. I'll show you that inside. So it's just a big washer on there, and that'll close it, open. My door I've cut nice and square, and I've used this door here. You always want it to be a little bit bigger than the opening so no smoke leaks out. So I've cut it off another tank. Every once in a while you got to sacrifice the tank to make doors. And it's just a door hinge bolted in. And to get it to close right, nice and tight like that, you're going to have to use washers as spacers, because you can eat a little bit of an overreach on that hinge. All these door latches I make myself. This is all just cut steel, again spaced with washers. And I've used an old door spring for a fire handle so it doesn't get hot. This latch here, I've just cut steel and drilled it and bent it. And then for your grate inside, I've just used another piece of scrap steel with a screen in it. Get that back in there. Make sure that door closes nice and tight. You don't want that leaking. And for the legs, I've just used cut tubing with a bolt and washers and drilled right through the bottom and space them evenly so it doesn't rock. And that's your nice base. And there's your tent stove. One thing I forgot to mention, it'll help you a lot when you take this valve out to cut this off. It's just 3 welds, just cut them right off. And that'll give you room to work this and spin it off. Now I'll show you another stove. There's another propane tank stove. Perfect for a nice shack or deer blind or what have you. This has got a bigger vent. I make these all different sizes. And you can see there how I've cut that hole with the angle grinder. And you can probably see better on this underfire valve where I've cut that. And I just use black pipe that I cut off with the thread end. And take your time cutting these holes. You want it to be pretty close. And then I've just threaded it in. And another stem, an old valve, and another washer for the underfire control. And this door is a little different, so I have an additional air valve here, as well as the underfire control. The door is all the same as the previous stove. For this log grate, I've just used a piece of grate that I cut and fit. And you can see good here how I made this latch. So it just swings like that. And you can lock it right down. And there's the legs. Again, it's cut tube with a bolt through it. And now we'll show you the outdoor fireplace, also known as a chimenea. And we'll get a good look at this. Patio fireplace or outdoor fireplace. So this is actually 2 propane tanks. The base is one cut in half, bolted through the bottom. This log grate I just made out of some spare parts. You just need something to keep the wood off the bottom so you have airflow, because that's your draft. And then for the exhaust air, I've actually used a union from a old car exhaust system to mount this pipe on. And that's just threaded on there again. It's very solid, very heavy duty. What's nice about these tanks is this is 12 gauge steel. You're not going to burn this out. This is going to last you your lifetime. And all my stoves, I've used high temp stove black to paint them, just so it won't burn off, and that'll keep rust away and what have you. Show you the bottom here. There's that bolt where I got it mounted. And as long as you make your cuts straight, this isn't going to rock or anything on you. But you can use your imagination and make them any way you want. There's another one with a 2-inch stovepipe fitting. This is a ice shack stove I made out of a welding rod box with another flange from an exhaust system for the pipe. A little door I made on it. And one thing I should tell you before I forget, very, very important. When you cut this door, There's a main, right here on every propane tank, there's a main seam. So they've taken two pieces and welded it together. And this is the seam right here. And every propane tank's like that. You're going to have to cut through that. And when you put your door on, see how I've ground this down on each edge? You want to ground that down so it's flush. So that way your door will close tight. You can't leave that because your door won't close. And it's always right in your way. And when you cut your door, you always want it on the bottom of the tank. Because that way when you put wood in it, you're not going to have that smoke coming back at you. The smoke will be up here and going out. A lot of people cut this door wrong. And that's all there is to it. Thank